I don't know if celebrity barber. I mean, I use it, on social media. I do use it. It's a way for people to understand this is the clientele base, right?
Yo, I want to get cut by Chris. Oh man, he does celebrities
To date, the most I've ever done was 38 head.
in one day.
Crazy.
You were always great.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
I turned a profit in that little barbershop, a 6-man barbershop, in the first 6 months of the first fiscal year of business.
All day, every day, Empire is the way. Today I got Chris Ali, the barber, Miami's top cutter. You already know he's cut my hair plenty of times. We share the spot at Elevation. He's been cutting for over 2 decades, taking care of his family, doing his thing, celebrity barber, taking care of people like, Tank, the face of boxing, things like that. So today I'm gonna have a conversation with him. You guys could learn a thing or two about business, barbering, and just the man himself, man. Thanks for coming, brother.
Steve, always, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. So, Chris, known you for a while, but you know what I don't know?
Tell me.
What got you into actually cutting hair? Yeah. Like, what was the?
It's a funny story because in high school, my mom couldn't always afford to give us haircuts every week. So one of my closest friends, we played on the team, on a baseball team together for Southford Senior High School. And he knew how to cut hair. His dad gave him a pair of clippers and trimmers and taught him how to cut hair. And he would shape us up in between time. When my mom could afford to get me a haircut, halfway. His name was Jomar. That was my first barber mentor. And I remember I said, Jomar, I said, bro, I want to learn how to do that. He's like, you know something, Chris, bro, you'd be good at it. I said, why you say that? He's like, because you know how to draw. I was like, I don't know, this and that. I was skeptical. One day I was like, I'll try it out. He's like, bro, I'll let you do my shape up. So I did my boy's shape up. And he's like, man, it's not that bad. I'm sure in retrospect, okay, if I were to look at that haircut, I'd be like, yo, wow, what did I just do? But it was good enough to him, and it was good enough for us. And this, I started getting better. And then next thing you know, I'm cutting other people on the team. I'm cutting, my friends after school, and that was it.
Yeah, because you're a Miami native.
I am, bro. Born and raised here.
Born and raised. Yeah. What year was this? Like you kind of started like dipping and dabbing into the barbering.
So I would say the first time that I picked up clippers was probably 2003. 2003, yeah. 2003, 2004 was my graduation year. And that was the year where I was like, you know what, like I'm actually making money doing this, I had high hopes of playing baseball. That didn't work out, man. That didn't work out.
Why is that? What do you think?
It was a combination of grades, and I had a death in my family, and it took a toll on me when I was a kid. And everything kind of spiraled out of control for me from there. And barbering to me was a way to make money, and it was also a way for me to escape. You have to have focus. So yeah, that's what that was.
I know you've been doing it for over 20 years, right?
Well,
2003, no?
Yeah, 2003. Yeah, more than 2 decades. I mean, it's difficult to say that I've been doing it professionally for over 2 decades. I think that professionalism is really when you burn all the other bridges and say this is just gonna be what I focus on, And even when I started cutting hair, man, I tried running from this, man. I tried everything from delivering pizza to working construction jobs to just doing things that weren't right. You know what I mean? To make more money. And I didn't need to. I could have kept doing this and focused on this earlier on, and I would have had much more success faster, I think,
So you think
yeah.
In order for a person to take something professional, they got to burn all the boats.
Oh, there's no question.
Right. That has to be kind of like their end all be all, so to speak.
Oh, for sure. If you don't, I think that if you're doing something, haphazardly, you're gonna have haphazard results. It doesn't matter what it is. Steve, you working out. Somebody that does not know you, they walk down the street, they see you, they don't know you at all. They know that you take care of yourself physically. They know chances are you don't eat garbage. Chances are that you have a workout regimen. Like, this is all optics without knowing you as a person.
Right.
So it just manifests that way, And I think that if you didn't let go of all the nonsense, there's no way that it would manifest for you, the physical side, right? So I think it's the same thing in business professionally, man.
So professional, out of those 20 years, what do you think is the timeline for, how long have you been doing it professionally, so to speak?
I'd probably say 12 years.
12 years professionally.
12 years, like 12 years that, like, it's undeniable. My self-development journey started a decade ago, where I started working relentlessly on me. Started 10 years ago.
What got you to that point where you were like, okay, I got to get started with this?
I was tired of, nothing working, man. After a while, when things don't work, you're just like, nah, something's got to change. I would say 12 years ago. I still had one foot into doing things that were wrong, and one foot in the legitimate world, which is barbering. And I got caught doing some nonsense, some illegal nonsense. And my mother, my wife, and my sister, they got frank with me. They said, hey, listen, like, you're gonna lose us. You keep doing this. Like, either this changes or we're out. And that ultimatum, I think, is what was like, oh, okay. Like, I can't lose all three of you. This is not a real thing. From then I got married, moved to the beach, and that's when I really burned the bridges. Yeah. Didn't know anybody on South Beach. A homie of mine, now a homie of mine, but somebody gave me a shot in the dark. It was like, hey, listen, man, I don't have space here, but I'll put a chair here for you. I went there with a crazy work ethic. Started listening to Tony Robbins, of all people, right? And started reading books. And
12 years ago?
Yeah. I started. My mom is a woman of faith. She raised my sister and I in the church, single parent. But I think that no, I know that in that time period when I got married, that's when I got serious about God. And I said, oh, okay, I can't just keep taking all these chances for granted. I couldn't. So I doubled down on that. I doubled down on self-development. And along the way, anybody that's known me that amount of time can tell you I've made countless mistakes. It's just, human beings, we always make mistakes. But I always tried my best and always came back and always came back and always came back. And that's when I started that. That was 12 years ago, man. It was 12 years ago.
Did you have a mentor or anybody that you were working with? Yeah, one-on-one, because I find that when you go into the self-development route, if you've experienced very turbulent times or you didn't have it growing up, it's really hard to navigate a road that you're kind of doing it on your own. You know what I mean? And especially like you're in the business, at some point you plateau and you don't know where to go, right? So naturally the only way is either to go up or down. But did you have at that moment like a mentor, like, yeah, you need to go check out Tony Robbins or somebody who's guiding you? Or was it just something that just kind of came innately?
I would have to say that in the beginning, I did not have a mentorship. I didn't have a mentor. I wasn't seeking mentorship. That was my rendition of mentorship. the books, you know, videos, tapes, CDs at the time. Like, yeah, that was my rendition of mentorship. I'm a huge advocate for mentorship. Mentorship has changed my life, man. 6 years ago is when I met my mentor, my main mentor, Eric Johnson. That that perspective is what takes you from where you are to where you want to be. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're a barber, whether you just want to learn more about business, wherever the mentorship comes from. If you want a mentor for your health, if you want, you know, I met a great young pastor, dude. He was a great mentor to me for my spiritual life, bro. Like, I think that's the missing key, Steve, to going to the next level, is mentorship. Yeah, but to answer your question, no, bro. 12 years ago, I didn't have a mentor. It was just me looking for stuff, man. Just looking, just searching. Yeah.
Well, I mean, searching is the first step, right? Inevitably, you get to the point and you realize, okay, I need this or I don't need that. Let's say that the pathway to be a professional or great at something is 10 years, 10,000 hours. So they say, right? Yeah. Give or take. Sure. You've been cutting for 20 years. Yeah. What makes your cutting style different than, say, another barber who's been cutting 15, 20 years? Like, what makes you different?
I would have to say, you know, I don't know, man. I'd have to say there's a bunch that makes me different. Everybody's unique in their own right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd have to say though, I mean, humbly, man. Like, I just the experience with me is reflective of my growth as a person. So what I mean by that is the conversation that you get from me is not the prototypical conversation that you'd get in a neighborhood barbershop. Like, even though I know about sports, obviously I cut a few people in the sports world, we're probably not going to talk about sports, man. You know what I mean? Unless you bring it up, then we could talk about sports.
Right.
But if not, you know, we're going to be talking about perspectives, like things that would be taboo, I guess, in other barbershops. You know, your religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, you know, about money. You know, all the things that the old heads told us not to talk about, we're going to talk about. You know what I mean? Politics. And that's eye-opening to a lot of people. I think that's what makes the biggest difference between me and somebody else.
So aside from the product itself, is really the level of consciousness of the person, and it's kind of like you can really. It's almost because from what I see and from what I've been through, I've been getting haircuts since I was a kid, obviously, and the barbershops were the place for the kind of like all the neighborhood heads to come in, talk, and at the end of the day, it's like a therapeutic session. Even in the tattooing, like for me, you know, people will come, they're searching for something, they're looking for a solution, and sometimes it's art, but the conversation, the inspiration, and the outcome is what they're really looking for. You know what I mean? And a connection. So you get people obviously that come back and forth because, you know, hair keeps growing back. It's not like a tattoo where you get one and you're gone. You know what I mean? It's kind of, yeah. And I don't know if I would call it it falls under luxury, you know, I would think.
Well, my services definitely do.
Right. Because you could be without a haircut for a while. You can't be without food for a while. You could be without a tattoo for a while, et cetera, right?
It's crazy because it's a little bit of both, man. I think for business, for guys like us, it is a necessity.
Yeah. But say the average person.
The average person,
you know what I mean? The average Joe, is it?
Sure. I mean, I guess there's something to be said for your hygiene, right? You know what I mean? Right. You need to look. You need to be, you know, well put together if you're the average person, for sure. But I would say that no. I mean, it is more of a luxury. It is more of a luxury. It's one of those necessary luxuries. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
How close do you get to your clients or customers? Like what is it to you from your perspective?
To me they're clients. To me they're clients, and I have clients that now, man, they're family. You know what I mean? That's another weird thing about that I've learned over the years, Steve, is that it's easier for a client to become your family than it is for your family to become a client, man. And that's so sad, brother.
Why do you think that's the case?
Uh, I'm sure there's a litany of reasons. I mean, family tends to see you through a certain lens, right? And old friendships tend to see you through a certain lens, especially when you've become a different person. So their perception of you is who you were when they knew you, when they were hanging out with you. You know what? That's Chris, right? Oh man, that's Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Steve's building an empire, fam. You know what I mean? But you're not part of that empire. Why? Because you have this notion that Steve is what Steve was years ago, right? Or Chris is who Chris was years ago. We evolve as people, man. At least you would hope so, right?
Yeah, and the thing is cool. Everybody has from my perspective, to me everything is empire because I'm building an empire, but the empire starts from within.
There's no question.
And when you don't have to be building my empire for you to have conversations with me. You need to be building yours so that we can all climb. And everybody climbs at a different rate. It's just that some people don't want to climb. Some people don't even want to begin that journey because, and I've seen it, you know what I mean? Comfortability, the cancer of comfortability, the limiting belief. And that limiting belief, like you said, is kind of tied into like what people thought you were. So they're expecting you to kind of be that. And when you're not that, it's like a shock to the system. You know what I mean? So that's something that is first you have to have the courage to want to grow, take the path, and be excited about what's on on the other side. Tony Robbins, he talks about massive action and just obviously always opening up. Man, what is something that you learned from his books? Because you said you read a few of those.
My biggest takeaway from Tony Robbins to date has been understanding your standards, and that your life is predicated on the standards that you have implemented on yourself. And I don't think that anybody could say it any better, man. The people that you surround yourself with is a direct result of your standards. The food you eat, the clothing that you choose to wear, the company that you keep, the woman that you choose to marry, you know what I mean? Like just everything, man. The car you drive, everything. It's all a derivative of what your standard of life is, what you find acceptable, right? And that's something that he harps on, but it's true, man. It's true, man. To me, when I started understanding how profound that was, I had to start changing my standards, And in the barber business, I guess the way that somebody sees that immediately is with your price point. Very similar to the tattoo industry. Obviously, Steve, you know that. When you raise your prices, for example, if you raise your prices, automatically the perception is, oh, I'm probably going to be getting more of something because I just raised my prices, right? That's not necessarily true all the time. It's not a tangible more. The person that's touching you is becoming more. That's why the price is more. You know what I'm saying? So inherently, you're getting more. Why? Because I'm giving you more. I'm giving you more of me. I'm becoming a better person. The person that's serving you is becoming a better person. A lot of people they don't adapt to that. I don't think. And so they have this. Oh, hold on a second. That's too much, or it's out of my price point, or whatever their reasoning is. Right. The truth is that it's a standard. It's a standard that you're implementing on yourself and you're showing others. Look, this is the way that I'm moving now. Why? Because this is the worth that I'm putting on myself now. Right? This is my standard. I think that shows literally in everything, Steve. In everything.
Right. And the thing is, what I come to find out too, raising your standards is a must, but it must be earned, right? Because there's also you can actually raise your standards delusionally.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Most people do.
Right.
Most people do.
Right. But this is 20 years of experience. So now you're speaking from 2 decades of perfecting a craft. You know what I mean? Same thing, like so you get to the point where your time is more valuable because you've earned more, you have other people who are willing to pay more, and at the end of the day, you got to take care of your brand, your name. So it's also your time. You know what I mean? You're a celebrity barber. Obviously, you cut different people. It's not about bringing the celebrity, but you cut people like who, for example? Like I know Tank, the face of boxing. I mean,
in the boxing world, I would say, Tank is probably the biggest name. Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Adrian Broner. That's in the boxing world. In the rap world, the Diplomats, Fabulous. Just people on Young Money. I've been around those stars for a long time.
Right.
Look at me, like yo, and I don't know if celebrity barber. I mean, I use it, on social media. I do use it because people. It's a way for people to understand. Oh, okay, well, this is the clientele base, right? Not so much that I'm a celebrity, right? That
right.
I take care of people that are celebrities. Yeah. So yeah.
So let's say 2 point of views, right? Client point of view is like, yo, I want to get cut by Chris. Oh man, he does celebrities, right? Now, does that affect you taking in new appointments, new clients? It does.
Yeah, of course. I'm assuming that it does. A lot of people are very hesitant to even, inquire about an appointment,
right?
Or even say, hey, listen, how much do you charge? Like, usually that's the verbiage, right? Like, yo, like how much do you charge? Like, I guess usually that's the first thing, but I get it. I understand. The average person is not thinking about their image in that regard, which is why people that are celebrities, they're focused on that. Why? Because that's part of what they do for a living. Their image is very important to them. So they're willing to spend, big money on haircuts, on their image, on their clothing, on their shoes, whatever, So that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a correlated investment. Like it's relative. And then the second question I had, so for example, you remember you were starting out, you were a barber starting out. So obviously there's a lot of people starting out in many different things, even the tattoo game, What would be your advice to somebody who's like, man, I want to, I'm a barber now, so I just want to cut celebrities, because that's at some level, those are the people, that's part of the mentality, right? What do you, do you gain from cutting celebrities? Is that a positive? Is that something you should be pursuing? Or is something that you really should stay away from until, I guess, it takes on a life of its own, so to speak?
Man, that's a great one, Steve. I would say the reason why I'm cutting celebrities right now, just people in the limelight, is because those are the people that I said that I was willing and able to serve. It's people that appreciated my time and my efforts the way that I thought it was, it was befitting, right? In terms of price point, in terms of, referring me other clients, other people that are in that same sphere, I guess you could say. But people, guys starting out, man, I would say find out who you want to serve, man. Like who is it that is who is your ideal customer? I think and that's applicable to every niche, really, man. You know what I mean? Who is your ideal customer? Okay, and why do you want to serve them? Chances are it's because they're in alignment with the way that you move, in alignment with the way that you view things, the way that you value things. And then you say to yourself, all right, cool. What does it take for me to get there? To serve these people and have a book of business that's just these people. All right, cool. You reverse engineer that, start going that route. I think a kid that gets out of barber school and says, oh, I want to start cutting celebrities, I don't know if he wants that. I'm certain that I know he does not want that. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. There are days still, to this point in my career, man, I work 12 hours a day sometimes, man. People don't see that. People don't see getting on an airplane and, traveling for 5 hours to do a one hour haircut, to sleep 3 hours, to get back on another plane, another 5 hours to get back here and still have, a 10-hour shift or a 10-hour day, 10-hour shift, but 10-hour day. It's a lot, man. That's not, the money's good, sure, whatever, but you have to want that to live that way. You can't not want that and do that. It's not possible,
How do you balance that and being a responsible and great father? Because I know you are. I mean, obviously.
Thank you, Steve, man. Yeah, I mean, I think it's God's grace, man, honestly, man. And the fact that, I got a great wife. I got a good woman, man. I really do, man. I got a great woman. She could deal with me not being home and still handle the things that she needs to handle at home without me being there. And then when I'm there, it picks up like nothing ever happened, She has a very a short memory for for me not being there. She's very, okay, he's away, but this is why he's away. Like this is why we got all this. Because he moves around so much and he's doing a lot. All right, cool. I think that if I didn't have that, it'd be very difficult. Yeah, man. But you miss some birthday parties, man. Not your kids' birthday parties. Thank God, I haven't missed any of my kids' birthday. But my kids' friends' birthday parties, Steve. So, sometimes I miss them. You know what I mean? The PTA meetings, fam. I don't know what's going on in the PTA, Steve. Jiu-jitsu, sometimes I can't take my son to jiu-jitsu, but, his mom can. And not only can his mom but it's great that she's able to be so hands-on because of who she is. She's just a great person, dude, I don't know. I would say that's the give and take, Steve. That's the give and take, man. You got to have a great partner in life, man. If you don't have a good woman in your life, or if you're a woman, if you don't have a good man in your life that balances out you not being there, it's hard. Having kids is too hard, man.
But the what comes out of it, the blessing and all of that, I mean, obviously, because I talk about. So I put out an ebook that's got an outline about different things in life, you know what I mean? And one of the things that I talk about is at some level, the more responsibility you put on your plate. Now, if you could take it willingly, it's the best way, obviously, because you got to rise to the occasion of the responsibility. Kids, employees, businesses, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And even if it's put upon you by the default mechanisms of life, if you're accepted, you got to rise to it, right? So kids are responsibilities. The more you rise, the more you give. I think the more you get out of that, right? I mean,
yeah. Kids, I think as human beings, bro, kids are our biggest responsibility.
Yeah.
There's no question about it, man. If you have children, that's the test in life that you have to pass, Yeah. And I think that the outcome of your children is your grade. Did you raise a responsible person? Did you raise a good-hearted person? Did you raise somebody that is a benefit to society, or you didn't? And the crazy thing about that is that only time will tell, right? You know? I mean, Steve,
No, I
Steve,
mean-
Steve, I could tell you, fam, that my kids are gonna be rock stars, bro. Right? I could say, you know what, one of my kids are gonna cure cancer, whatever. I don't know that. I don't know that until it's done. You know what I mean? And as a parent, you know, I guess you hope that that's the case, but you're doing the best that you can for your kids, giving them the best that you can, best of you that you can, and at the end, hopefully that's how it works out.
Yeah. So how old are they? Because it's three of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Emery is gonna be 16. Junior is 9, and Gianni is 6. My 2 boys live with me, and my daughter lives with her mom.
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
Who's in jiu-jitsu?
Chris was in jiu-jitsu.
Junior.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why, you didn't like it?
Oh man, Steve, man. I don't know if I told you this. I don't know. I think me and you talked about it the day that it happened.
Remind me.
Man, it was this little girl, man. But she's a killer. Okay.
So he's in love? Junior's in love?
Huh?
Junior's in love?
No.
Oh.
This was the opposite of love.
Okay.
You ready? So one day, this was one of those days where I actually was able to go to jiu-jitsu. I go over there, I go and I pick him up, and he's got a tear in his eye and whatnot. What's up with you, Chris? I don't want to talk about it. I said, all right, you don't want to talk? All right, cool. We get in the car, we're driving back home. I get home. I said, I think we should talk about it now. What's the deal? Because I saw he was calmed down. I said, I don't want to go to jiu-jitsu no more. I said, you don't want to go to jiu-jitsu no more? I said, what happened? This girl, she put me in an arm bar and she did, I tapped, but she didn't let go right away and this and that. I said, Chris, are you serious? He said, yeah, Bobby, I don't want to do it no more. I said, well, Chris, listen, this is part of it. It's going to hurt a little bit, but you have to get over this. You know what I mean? So, Steve, so I let it go.
You didn't tell me this one, by the way.
I didn't?
No.
I could have swore we had this conversation, bro. So I'm trying my best not to laugh because he's dead serious about this. He's dead serious.
Yeah.
So, he goes and I said, Junior, tell mommy what it is you said to me. Take off your gi, this and that. All right, cool. I go upstairs and I laugh, but of course I don't let him hear me. I laugh and I'm like, yo, man, I can't let my son quit because of this nonsense, right? This is what I'm telling myself. So I can't let him do that. Go downstairs. Jeanette, my wife has a great sense of humor. She starts laughing because she knows a little girl, You know what? She's better than you, Chris. That's part of it. You're going to get good and this and that. We have the whole thing. I don't want to go to, I said, Chris, to me, it doesn't matter what you want. You said that you were going to do this. You have to continue doing what you said you were going to do because you said you were going to do it. Mm-hmm. Bobby, I don't want to. I said, listen, I'm sorry. You're going. It's what it is, right? All right, cool. A month goes by. Every week, Steve, Bobby, I don't want to do this. Bobby, I don't. Finally, I said to him, I said, Chris, this is what we're going to do. If you could go and tell your coach that you don't want to do this anymore, you tell him, hey, listen, I need to break my commitment that I told you. If you could say it to your coach, you got it. He hit me with the Bobby, this is too much. I said, no. You said that this is what you wanted to do. All right, cool. Now you got to say that you don't want to do it. I'm not going to do that for you. You're going to do that. All right. He went to jiu-jitsu 2 more days before he mustered up the courage to go and say to his coach, all right, this and that. So he hasn't been in jiu-jitsu since, man. And it was all because of a little girl put the joint on him.
So, okay, I'm putting myself in the shoes because now I'm thinking, right? Now I'm thinking, yeah, it got me thinking. You didn't tell me that. So, okay. It's a doozy because I'm putting myself on my, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to speak this one out loud and I'm going to say, okay, it's either he's going to have the attitude of a quitter at some level or hey, listen, that's good that you wanted it and now you got to say you don't want it. Obviously that's the right And I'm sure you were hoping that he wasn't gonna say that at some level. Yeah. So okay, cool. That happened. How do you course correct that?
I guess the only way that we have is put him in something else until he finds something else. The thing is that for me, like I'm big on example, right? So he hasn't seen me quit much of anything. So to have him say that he wanted to do that means that he thinks it's acceptable to do that, which is why I don't want to make that like a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one thing, you know what, your season runs out in soccer, season runs out in football. You know, whatever. Jiu-jitsu is very different, bro. Once you're in jiu-jitsu, you're just climbing. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know this, Steve. But it's just one of those things where you're just always climbing in martial arts. There's no season for martial arts. You continue martial arts until you want to take a break, right? But, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a good question. How would I stop that cycle? I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm being preemptive of not making it a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want him to think that that's an option, like quitting, because it's not, you know, quitting isn't an option.
Right. Especially with today's like society and the way things are, you know, we've had these talks, you know, all types of things, you know, like just how society's kind of pushing that, you know, celebrating weakness and all that stuff. So at some level, you know, our kids are seeing that, you know, and growing up, that wasn't really an option, you know, it was the opposite. You know, I remember I used to, you know, my teachers would hit me. And then my parents would double down. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was.
Very different like era that we're in, bro.
Yeah.
You notice, Steve, when we were growing up, like the heroes were like the people we looked up to, they were like masculine dudes, fam.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they had a couple, you know, women around them. It was like, it was like, it's not, now it's more like the more passive you are about your stances, the more you're celebrated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You think that's by design or you think
There's
that's
no
intentional?
question. No. It has to be by design, bro. They're trying to, when I say they, I mean just, it feels like that's just where we're at right now. And we have to soften this up some more. We don't need a lot of free thinkers in the world now, especially in our youth, man. That's a loaded conversation, Steve. I think that's a very loaded conversation, man.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something that obviously I think that's in the back of the mind of anybody who's a free thinker. You know what I'm saying? And because it's you know, it's like Jordan Peterson says. He talks about order and chaos. There's always a fight, you know, and order is a masculine force. Chaos is what they call a feminine force. You know, that's where they got the yin and the yang. But chaos comes from not having control. Like humans are supposed to be able to wield the world and kind of control what's happening in there and themselves. And if they don't, it's chaotic. And when it's chaotic, you don't know what's what, who stands for what, and what the situation is. So that's challenging, man. Raising boys in this type of era is challenging. What do you think about people who don't want to raise kids? Like, you have an opinion on that? That don't. Yeah. They're like, I don't want to have kids. You have an opinion on that?
What do I think about people that don't want to raise kids?
Because you got 3. That means you're already 2.1 is the average that just to maintain a society, right?
Yeah. I think, I think people that don't want children, I think that says a lot about them. There has to be something there inside. I think if you don't at least want to pass on your knowledge to your seed or try to make this world a better place or have some sort of legacy that lives on longer than you, I think it says something about you, man. You know, again, I know people that are just great people. They don't have children, but it's not because they don't want children. You know what I mean? At least the people I'm thinking about.
Right,
It's
right.
not because they don't want children. It's because they haven't found the right person. And I think that that's the most important part of having children is the person you choose to have children with. Man, I couldn't. I'll tell any of my young boys that care to listen. That is the biggest. That could be the biggest detriment in your life, or that could be the biggest blessing in your life, man. Who it is that you choose to have a child with, for sure. There's no question. You know, I don't know. It's a good question, Steve. I don't know. I don't know what my take on somebody that doesn't want to have children would be, but that, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously not speaking on the people who can't have kids because, you know what I'm saying, biologically, you know, you got some situations or chemically things, you know what I'm saying? But there are people who actively like, no, I don't want to have kids, you know, and cool, youth could be a factor, you know what I'm saying, lack of experience, but at some level, you know, it's yeah, you're not passing on your genes, you're not, you know, you're not adding and contributing.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's a Jewish proverb, right? It's a rite of passage for men. In order to be considered, not considered, in order to have considered a great life in that culture, you have to do three things. You have to write a book, you have to plant a tree, you have to have a son. And the premise of that thought, you know, process is that those three things, they live on further than you, right? Like, this is something that goes into the world long after you're gone, and it remains, right? So I think there's something to be said for that. I think I agree with that, you know, with that thought process.
Yeah, that's wisdom. You know, there's a lot of wisdom in a lot of the old knowledge. And yeah, a lot of the times, if you want to find out what's real, man, sometimes you just go back to the basics and you just really understand what's what, you know? Critical thinking, common sense, which doesn't seem to be too common, right?
And not anymore, Steve. Not anymore, man.
Bro, how many people have you cut in 20 years?
Not too many.
Can you put a number on it or no?
Probably not. Probably not. A lot. A lot. I remember when I first started out, it was a volume game, right? It was about how many haircuts can I do in a day. To date, the most I've ever done was 38 haircuts.
In one day?
Yeah, 38 haircuts. Yeah.
Non-stop.
Crazy. So what's wild is the beginning of my career, I was a speed barber. So I knew how to do a fade in pretty much 10 minutes. You know what I mean? A skin fade. Which, I mean, in retrospect, it sounds crazy that somebody would allow me to cut their hair that fast, you know? Like, it's unbelievable. But to be able to do that on a consistent basis, at those price points starting out, that's the only way you make decent money is with volume, right? And then after a while, you know, your clientele starts changing, and people value the service more than the speed. Like, like, you know, I damn near got a headache, you know, from the machine hitting me or whatever, like whatever it is, right? Oh, okay, I can't go that fast. I have to take it easy. And so at the beginning of my career, man, there was probably, you know, I don't know, the first 5 years of my career, dude, that accounts for still maybe 80% of my haircuts.
That's how,
like that, bro. Like that we're talking about
right.
next. And you know.
But I'm gonna go ahead and assume, and I think that's right, that within that time frame, you learned a lot of shit.
Or you can't learn any other way but repping. It's the reps.
Right.
It's the reps.
Just the reps. So speed, right? Because it's funny. I have the same story with the tattooing because I started my career pretty much almost in South Beach, and it was just like a quick, it was a lot. It was a lot of movement, a lot of pressure, a lot of time, people waiting. There's a lot of that. So you got to speed through stuff. You know what I'm saying? So in the speed game, what is the top thing that you learned
It just in the barber game, you're saying?
in the barber game?
Yeah, in the barber game, I would
That
say
you still apply today.
that I still apply today.
Because by applying that, all right, maybe the question is not well put. Something that you learn that you're like, okay, you know what? I learned so much from it that by applying or not applying is still a lesson. You know what I'm saying?
There's no question. I think it's positioning of your tools, the emphasis of how clean and how well maintained your tools have to be in order to be efficient. So like even if I'm doing a home visit or an office visit, the way that I set up my station is cookie cutter. Why? Because I know exactly when I turn around where a clip is going to be, where a comb is going to be, where a clipper is going to be, where my disinfectant's going to be, just where everything is going to be. So positioning is more about, just the efficiency of it. So I think that the reps, excuse me, I think that the reps is what they do is they make you efficient. They make you cognizant of placement and how to be efficient with reps. What else does the reps do, man? The reps gets you familiar with hair textures. The reps gets you familiar with skin tones and the contrast to hair. Reps gets you familiar with people more than anything. Because even though I don't have a semblance of who that person really is, a solid conversation in those 10, 15 minutes, but I pick up on social cues that would otherwise take a long time if I had to sit through more variances of people for longer periods of time. For example, I'll give you an example. When somebody comes in, they sit down in the chair, from the way that they greet you, to the way that they shake your hand, to the way that they're indifferent about even being there. Like, those are things that you pick up quickly. Why? Because you have that high volume, that high turnover of people. So you're able to read a person a whole lot faster because of those reps, right? And the discernment is almost immediate once you've seen so many people. You know what I mean? You could kind of tell after a while. After you've dealt with so many people, you could kind of tell after a while, oh, this person, they don't really want to talk very much. You know what I mean? Or this person is open to conversation, or this person is not in a good place today, or this person is in a great mood today. And I think that's what reps does too.
It almost helps you regulate yourself a lot through a lot of that.
That's another thing, right? That's another thing. That's another thing that that barbering has taught me is everybody gets a different version of you, right, Steve? I think that's fair to say. Obviously, you're your own person. You're always genuine, but I think everybody brings out something different from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think that is?
Energy, man. You can't fake energy, Steve. Like, I could wear a smile and look like I'm dying on the inside. You wouldn't know it. You know people. So you know this to be true.
Right.
People will wear a smile and their world is falling apart. And some people wear it on their sleeve. Some people can bring out that comfort in somebody else. Like, hey, listen, man, it's all right. You could be vulnerable here. Like, you're good, man. This is a good space. This is not a judgment space. You know what I mean? All right, cool. Like, so everybody, I think everybody has that, man. Like, they just know who to be around certain people or how to express themselves around certain people. I think that's something that the reps does too.
Yeah.
In the beginning, man, it's in any business, it doesn't matter what it is, man. you have to do the reps, you have to do the work, you have to do it. You have to.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about you can only meet somebody as deep as they've met themselves. So depending on where that person's met themselves and when you have kind of like that's the highest climatic point of the conversation, so to speak. Because you ever had a conversation with somebody where they're getting kind of like, you know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, that's what it seems to me, you know?
That's crazy. You know, it's wild because some people, and this is why I say that self-development is everything. And mentorship is, I attribute so much of my success, so much of my growth to that, bro. Is because, and me and you've had this conversation before. I think it's awesome. I think that we're gonna have it on wax, on video. And my philosophy on life is, I guess you could say, if you were to ask me, Chris, what's the meaning of life, right? Like,
I'm going to help you. Chris, what's the meaning of life?
Yeah, yo, word. No, I'm just like, I would say, Steve, I would say the meaning to me at this point in my life is to be becoming more every single day. And that's applicable to every area of life. To be becoming a better husband, to be becoming a better businessman, to be becoming a better student of life, to be becoming more. That's, if you were to ask me like you did, that's what I would, that would be my response to that. And why it's profound that you said that is that most people don't do those deep dives on themselves, right? Maybe they're, like you said earlier, they're complacent. You know what? I'm comfortable, like, whatever. So you're looking at somebody through the lens of who they are, not who they could be, just where they are. So that level is as deep as we could go in this conversation. Why? Because that's where you got to.
Right.
You know, so I can't give you more of me because you can't give me any more of you, you know?
Yeah, they don't got
That's why that's profound, man.
Right.
That's amazing, bro. It was very well said, man.
I mean, you know, and we've had these conversations probably for the last couple of years, man, and you know, in that back and forth, that wordsmithing and verbal judo and word wrestling, and you know, and I think it's also in us trying to find the best version of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Is really important. You know, like for example, my philosophy is actually empire is the way. That's where it comes from, and it's not because, oh, it's all about building empires. It's in my journey, I was building an outward one, and then I realized I'm like, shit, I haven't really been working on the inner one. So yeah, so really, empire is the way. Is like you build your empire from the inside out is the way, because that's the strongest version of yourself. And it's kind of like through the things that I know about, you know, like tattoos, fitness, business. These are three things that I've learned, that I've done deep dives on, that I can speak confidently about and still have room for other conversations, because I'm learning every day. You know what I mean? I don't know anything about the barber game except getting a cut. I don't know about raising 3 kids. I have 1. You know what I'm saying? I think if you know that you can learn from somebody at any given point, it keeps you humble.
There's no question.
And allows for you to open up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And have these conversations.
Of course, man.
You know?
Of course.
What's success to you?
Success. Boy, oh boy. Success.
Everybody's got a different
course.
definition for success.
Of course. What is success to me, man? I would have to say, you know, success is a sense of fulfillment that is to my standards. I think that's what success is. I've met successful people, Steve, that don't have much money, that I think objectively we could consider them successful people. But I guess if we were to put tabs on it, I think somebody that's financially sound, somebody that has a solid relationship with his children, if he has children, or with his peers, or with his wife. Somebody that has a strong connection to themselves spiritually and to God, if they're a believer in God. And success, man. Somebody that has a strong moral compass. I think I think all those things. If they have all those things, I think it would be foolish not to call that person successful. You know, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, all those pillars are like spokes in a wheel. So if the car is running and one of them is weak, you're gonna feel that bump, or So yeah, it has to be an amalgamation, of all those things, because otherwise you're kind of running low on something. You know what I mean? You're working on a project to, I think it's from the gist of it, we've spoken about it. To, is it teach people how to cut, or what was that project about?
One of the things I was working on was more of a course and more of like an academy to make better barbers. I think one of the biggest things that's wrong with my industry is perception. People don't have a lot of respect for barbers, especially the average barber, for lack of better words, right? You got the neighborhood barbershop, guys that come in there, smelling like weed, maybe from the night before. They can't keep an appointment. They don't even do appointments. The workstation looks crazy. The way that they speak, their verbiage is terrible. It's not a place that you'd want to take kids to. So a lot of that disrespect from the market, right, is because us as barbers, we don't have that respect to give, And I think that it's one of those things where I want to change that, man. I want to flip that on its head. You know what I mean? I think that if people knew or had a protocol on how to move professionally, how to be real professionals versus, oh, you know what? I got a barber license, so now I should cut hair. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, man, but it's not all of it, That piece is what's missing in my industry. And that's what I want to help more people with, Never mind the techniques and all of that. I'm going to have some stuff in there as well. But it's more with a focus on how to be a better professional, Yeah.
Right. So then, basically, from that perspective, anybody who wants to be a professional in any type of career choice that they pick, they can benefit off of that
there's no question. Yeah, because there's so many ways to. It's been my experience. It's been my experience that, in particularly service-based businesses, they are their niches, their nuances, obviously in everything. Tattoos, barbers, a car wash, man, nail technicians, whatever, anything service-based. They have their own little nuances, their own little things that are just proprietary to that. But when you get to the crux of it, a lot of it is just prototypical stuff, basic, fundamental stuff that if you have it down to a science, you have a great business. You have a great business. You have a business that you could put anywhere and it'll do well, Yeah. Steve, you could speak to that better than most people, man. That's why you could put a tattoo shop, Steve, anywhere in any corner of this country, I would argue, and it would do well. You know what I mean? Because you understand that. I would say to the letter, you understand that. You know what I mean? If you do this and have it like this and move like that, this is your result. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody has their own magic formula because you built it, after a certain. So what I had asked you prior was after 10 years, you build something great, right? But then at 10 year from year 1 to 10, you build the experiences, you get efficient, you could become great at whatever you do. Right? Then from year 10 to year 20, second decade, now not only are you great, you're mastering and you're turning yours into your own individual niche.
For sure. There's no question.
Right. And that niche has results. And then that's what you could kind of formulate and say, okay, I could duplicate or replicate via X, Y, and Z.
This is my secret
Right.
sauce.
Right.
This is my secret sauce. Yeah.
And the person who's going to take your course is going to get the benefit of that experience
Oh, there's no question.
for you're giving value for that. So it's the similar thing. Like, for example, for my journey in my business, I have a sauce that works for mine specifically because, like you said before, when you know your clients, you know your customers, you reverse engineer, you figure out, okay, this is who I'm serving, this is why I'm serving them, and this is why I'm doing it. So what's replicable is not the fact that I'm like, it's not like, oh, I'm special. It's like I've put in the work, I know what it is, and because I produce results, this is the formula. You know what I'm saying? And then, I appreciate that. Obviously, like those are the type of things that are important to the youth because, we didn't have mentors growing up like that.
Yeah, it's not just true.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not even just that. You would go to a mentor or look up the mentor, and most people around in your inner circle will probably say something like, why you gotta spend money on that? Oh, don't waste your time, don't waste your money. That bullshit doesn't work. And it's because, like we said before, they didn't dive deep enough, or maybe they didn't believe, or comfortability, right?
I love people like that, man.
They keep you on your toes.
I love people like that, Steve. Because the people in your life, it's been my experience. The people in your life that'll sit there and criticize you for getting a course, or man, how do you know you're not going to get scammed, or like all of that nonsense. It speaks to where they're at currently in life.
Right.
Listen, like, at the end of the day, how do I lose from this? If I lose the money, then guess what? I lost the money. But if I get the knowledge, it's going to pay for itself 20 times over, man. Like, I think that's another thing, man. Like, in regards to mentorships, right? Like, a lot of times I've noticed that people don't care to hear what somebody that is not as accomplished as they are on the outside has to say about said subjects. Bro, I've learned stuff from people that are 5 years in barbering. Something that's like, what?
Right.
What are you talking about? Man, let me hear that again. Why? Because I'm susceptible to that. Like I'm making myself available to that. Like I want to learn more. Like let me hear it, right? Too many times it's been my experience that when you deal with, so my thing is the 1%, you know that, be the 1%, right? But too many times when you're dealing with people in that bracket, it's very difficult to have insight or give them insight because there's a sense of, man, I did it all. Like, I know it all. I think that's when you start going backwards. When you start thinking you know it all, that's when you're moving backwards.
That's because a hard head makes a soft ass.
It's the truth, fam. It's the truth, Steve. It's the truth.
And that's when you lose humility.
Of course.
You don't grow anymore.
Of course. Of course.
Keeping an open mind.
To me, man, like, I'm trying to learn from everybody as much as I can, And to say that, because you haven't done what I've done, like, I don't want to listen to you, man, that's ridiculous, man. To me, it's ridiculous. Like, listen, what do you got? Let me hear what you got. Man, I never saw it from that perspective before. Man, hold on, it's like one of those. It's like that saying that goes, your ideas are only good ideas, or your stances are only good stances and perspectives if you're welcome to somebody else challenging it. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I'm not okay with you challenging my idea or my perception of whatever it is that I'm gung-ho about, then I'm really not secure about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's on wobbly legs. No, tell me why I'm wrong. Okay. And then, you process that. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense. I take some of that. I leave something else. But my idea is still there. I still agree with my idea. I still believe in my stance. Then it was a strong stance, I think it's the same way. I think it's the same way with other people.
Yeah, it's like, that reminds me of, like, for example, when you're choosing, like, let's say a name for something or like, when you ever had it when you're like, before you open up your business, you're like, damn, what should I call it? It's almost like, you put different names and you let them challenge each other until the winner comes out because you just want them to battle each other. You know what I mean? Sometimes you'll be like, hey, guys, what do you think about this? And maybe you get some feedback and you're like, okay, I like that. You know who picked the name Empire for, like, when I was going through the names?
Your
Did I
daughter?
tell you this one?
Your daughter?
No.
Who?
No, because Empire is she was, let me see. She was like 5 years old when I started. Yeah, or 4. Yeah. I remember I had a bunch of names, right? And I had maybe like 30 names or something before I started this. Yeah, man. I had a sheet with like 20, 30 names or something like that. To the point where I don't even remember. And then, at the time you get like really flamboyant names and shit. Like you're like, shit like that. And I remember I was down to 3. Yeah. Right? And I couldn't choose. And I asked my mom at the time. I asked my mom. It was 3 different names. Obviously, Empire was one of them. I can't remember the other ones. I mean, I'm telling you, it was some corny shit, probably. But when I showed it to her, she was like, "Oh, yeah,
this
Empire.
one. Yeah, that's it."
And I was like, "Why?" She was like, "Yeah, that's you." And I couldn't understand why at the time. It's like sometimes your parents know you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? There's wisdom, exactly. So it's funny to say, but you gotta let things battle out, and may the winner come out. You know what I'm saying? And that's capitalism, entrepreneurship, merit. You know what I mean? Earning. In the spirit of that. So that's what it is, man. Well, if you were to lose it all right now, all your gifts, and only keep one, okay?
Okay, all my gifts, my money, my contacts, everything.
Money, contact, network, abilities.
Everything.
Okay?
Everything.
Right?
I lose everything.
But you could keep one. What would you keep?
My ability to communicate.
Communication.
Yeah. I could sit down with the neighborhood pusher. I could sit down with the CEO of a Fortune 500 company on the same day. Yeah, that's my gift.
What allows you to pivot from a high to a low?
Experience.
But if you were to lose the experience, would you be able to pivot?
Oh, I was assuming that I would be able to keep that because of the communication.
Because
right?
of the communication.
Oh yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Then that's why I get. But you're saying I can't keep experiences.
You can't keep experience because you lose it.
That's right.
You lose it.
Wow.
You see.
Oh wow.
All tied together. Everything's intertwined, right? But
that's a curveball.
Yeah, I know.
That's a curveball. If I were to, wow, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Wow, man, I don't know. You're saying attributes, or you're saying like?
I guess a better question would or let me add to the question.
Sure.
What tool would you need to begin the process so you could do it all over again and be successful? Like, what is the one thing? I mean, in life and everything. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, I'm asking that question because obviously I've asked myself that question, and to me.
Sure.
And there could be something wrong, but to me it's discipline. You know what I'm saying? Because
discipline, it's a characteristic that I'm looking for.
You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. Sure.
It because discipline keeps you on the path, whether you're right or wrong or you don't know the answers. But at some level, if you stay on the path, you eventually get back to the answers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you get experience through that, and you get knowledge, and then eventually you find out, okay, shit, I plateaued, I'm comfortable, I gotta go seek out.
Discipline.
But it's kind of like what keeps you in that
Fam.
framework.
I don't think
you
you
know?
can have a better one than that. Honestly, I don't. Man, that's crazy.
It's almost like at the beginning and at the tip of the spear. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
at some level, because even keeping you doing all those cuts, that's hard work, but it's also that discipline to
There's no
maintain,
question.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
there's
saying?
no question. Yeah.
It's
That's a great attribute to have, man. Discipline. I mean, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say faith, man. If we're going with attributes, man, I'd have to say faith, man. Take everything, don't take my faith, man. You know, if you leave me with my faith, man, I still believe I can make this. I'll leave this world better than I found it. You know? I don't know.
what does faith mean to you?
Faith is, I guess my definition of faith, my personal definition of faith is the ability to see something that the ability to have an outcome that I can't physically see that I want to happen. So, I guess a desired outcome, I guess you could say a desired outcome without knowing that it'll come to fruition. Like having a desired outcome, faith would be having a desired outcome that I can't physically see or I have no proof of. That's tangible proof, right? I think that's what that is. I think that's what faith is.
Now, your faith is it also a religious faith or
Yeah,
is
so
it intertwined?
yeah, for sure. So I believe in God. I believe that I don't believe any of this was an accident. I think that to me it's just it doesn't make sense to believe that all of this came from some explosion and that we were monkeys and whatever. To me that's not. I don't subscribe to that way of thinking. So because I believe in a higher power, I believe I was made in that higher power's image. And because I'm made in that creator's image, I have an edge, man. That faith is an edge that is, as a business owner, as somebody that's, that's a parent, right? Somebody that's striving to be a better person. Well, that's a competitive edge over somebody that doesn't believe in anything but themselves. That's something that's, man, it's light years ahead. It's light years ahead, man. It is such an advantage, man. Having faith, that's incredible. If you don't have faith, if you're not working with faith, right? Because at some point, all entrepreneurs, all business people, they have to see something in their mind before they see it in front of them with their eyes. At some point, right? Mm-hmm. You have to see it in your mind. You have to, right? A man of faith or a person of faith that's instilled in them. And the reps, they use that almost on a daily basis. So in business, it's plug and play. Like, oh, this is, of course. Because that's what we're used to, Yeah. Yeah, man,
there's something to be said about the faith part. Because a religion could be having a religion itself. If you have no religion, it's also a religion. You know what I'm saying? So, a person of faith is I guess at the end of the day, it's like this country was was made in that image. You know what I'm saying? The original Constitution and everything was built by men of faith. You know what I mean? And it seems also now today too. You know, there's a lot going on. There's a war on faith. There's a war on religion. There's a war on men. There's a war on, you know. You think AI is going to touch your industry at some point?
The barber industry.
Like a machine cut the hair and
It's so many. So they have stuff like that now. Yeah, I think that the reason why, you know, without the romance, right? Without the romance, there's something to be said for going to a barbershop. The average. I'm talking about the average person. I'm not talking about the superstar. I'm talking about the average guy. Going to a barbershop, sitting down with somebody that they trust, having a great conversation, getting a great service, talking about whatever you want to talk about, sports, again, the regular guy, sports, politics, you know, the fact that they just met this, you know, the smoke show and, you know what, like, you know, I can't, she might be the one, and next week it's another girl, you know? Those things are, those are the intangibles of my industry, man. Those are the things that COVID couldn't do away with. You know what I mean? Put a damper on it, but they won't close the door on it, you know? I think that that's the reason why machines won't ever be able to do what barbers do. Machines could cut your hair. I'm sure machines could cut your hair. That's, you know, eventually, if I'm not mistaken, there's a company in Sweden, of all places, that came out with some technology that does that. You sit down, it does a scan of your head, and you know, you pretty much pick what you want, and then the thing cuts it with the scissors, this and that, whatever. Like, that's a brave guy going in there doing that.
Right.
Okay?
How accurate is that?
Like,
Have
you know, be
that?
careful. You know, be careful. Nah, carajo, right?
Yeah.
So they'll sit there and they do the whole thing, and then you know what? The haircut came out half decent. I saw it. I'll send you a link of that. But anyway, to me, like what's, you know, there's more to that service than anything else. Besides the haircut, there's more to the service.
Actually, I'm glad you said that, because I actually argue that over the years, in the future, that's going to be sought after so much to the point that it's going to strengthen our businesses. Because remember, I'm in the service business too as well. You know, we do tattoos. People are coming in, you know, it's therapeutic. They want to speak to somebody. They want to get an artist who's going to give them their own perspective and their own artistic original touch. And yeah, you could have AI create something cool, no problem. But at the same time, it's not generated through something intangible like a conversation, a connection, something that is deeper than just, you know what I'm saying? You know? So, like I said, I'll argue that I think it's gonna it's gonna strengthen the people who actually want to do it are gonna get better, have better businesses. The people is gonna weed out the people who are not in it for real, and it's gonna make for better businesses down the line. I think it's gonna be very niche. You know what I mean?
Sure. AI, man. I think AI has done so much for us now.
Yeah.
Steve, the other day, you know, I was on that chat GPT. And I'm over here just answering, you know, doing the font hacking. I don't know if you know about that.
No, fun. Well, I might, but what are they?
So it's the verbiage that you use when you're on the platform of ChatGPT.
Right.
And the way that you ask it questions that formulate certain answers that are specific to you. Does that make sense? So, for example, if you were to say, Steve, something to my ChatGPT, it'll probably give you a different answer than if I were to say it to mine, and vice versa, right? Because it's generated to give you a response based to your tone, based to the way that you ask the question.
Really?
Like,
I mean, I've seen some crazy shit in this past week, so it doesn't surprise me, but It still surprises me.
Yeah, it's insane.
You know what I mean?
Steve, it's insane.
You know?
So I was reading up on it. I'm reading up on this whole font hacking, this and that, whatever. And so I asked her some basic questions. You know, what is considered to be a top tier barber? What is their price points? Like questions like that, like this and that. And I'm getting it back, Steve, and it's writing it out in real time. After I ask the questions, it does a little buffering thing. An excellent barber, and it's reading it to me, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Yo, dude, I'm reading it, I'm like, yo, it's on point. Not only is it on point, it's giving me perspectives that it has, like opinions. It's crazy on what it should be. And I'm like, bro, this AI thing is unbelievable, Steve. Unbelievable. But to say, my fault, Steve, my fault. But to say that it's going to change our industry, like to the point where we're not gonna be the one physically doing the tattoo. We're not gonna be the one physically doing the haircut. I don't see that happening, man. I really don't, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a double-edged sword, but if you're in the side of abundance, if you're in the side of belief, faith, and you think that, you know, you're going to be obviously good, it should be no problem. You just got to...
I'm not bothered by it at all.
Right. You just find a solution.
Of course.
And you go around the problem and you create other solutions.
Of course, the day that happens, I mean, if that happens, if that's the direction, my brother, then guess what? I'm going to have 5 chairs with 5 little robots around them, and it's what it is, Steve. Like, you know.
Right now, just to touch on the subject, obviously, you know, a plug for, you know, Angel and his elevation, because you've been there also too with a private studio, but you have your barbers too as well. You go do your calls, but people could also find you there at Elevation from time to time too, right? I shared an office there too while I was, you know, getting this spot. So how do you find it, you know, cutting inside the gym? Is it something really cool? Is it a new experience? Because I don't think I've ever seen that before, bro. No. You know, it's not right. So
it was a very novel concept when we started this. And this all came about, man, because I had met Angel through a mutual acquaintance of ours, actually a mutual friend of ours. And this was right after I lost my shop on South Beach. You remember that shop, Steve?
Yeah.
Man, that shop was unbelievable, man. I turned a profit. Anybody that's watching this that's big on business, I turned a profit in that little barbershop, a 6-man barbershop, in the first 6 months of the first fiscal year of business. So anybody that knows, but like that's impressive, like in any industry.
Yeah, because typically it's a 2-year time investment.
It was just from day one. I mean, and I had a lot of things working for me. A lot of the barbers that were there that I brought in, they had pre-existing clientele, so there was a little of that too. But it's nonetheless, man, it was incredible. And I ended up having to shut down that barbershop. Steve, you heard the story before, but I ended up having to shut the barbershop down because of technical reasons. I wasn't able to put a barbershop there in the first place. So, you know, COVID obviously contributed heavily to that because I wasn't able to get my bearings, you know, back up in the time that I needed to move it to another place. COVID came, and so everything had to get wiped out. Anyway, right after that, that's when I met Angel. Went over to Angel. Angel's like, hey, listen, Chris, man, like, I have a little chair here. You know, if you want, you can come on in and cut your people and, you know, tell me what you think. I was like, sounds interesting. Started bringing ball players, rap artists and stuff over there. People were like, yo, like, what's this guy doing here? Cut their hair up in the middle of the gym. You remember that?
I do remember that. Now I remember that. I forgot that there was a chair right there when you enter. Yes. You remember that? Yeah. I had totally forgot about that.
Bro, it's crazy. And I was just like, hold on a second. Like, people keep asking me for a haircut. Never mind the fact that who I was cutting or whatever, but they were just like, yo, like, that's cool. Like, can I get a haircut next? And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, man, there's something to this. I asked Angel, I was like, you know, whenever one of those things open up, like, let me know in the back. Cause he had little,
The office spaces.
I guess like little office spaces, right? They had like little office spaces in the back, but I was like, you know something, even though it's open faced, meaning I could hear whatever's going on in the gym, it'll still work for me. It doesn't matter. It'll be our own little spot. Fast forward, one of those things became available and me and you were just talking. Yeah, nah, Chris, yeah, I'm getting this thing. I'm like, yo, hold on, what happened? I thought that this guy was supposed to, yo, dude, you remember that?
Yeah,
and then that's when me and you we split it. And then
I remember.
But I think about that and I was just like, yo, man, like it's a great concept, bro. That little thing is a great concept.
Is that something you would replicate?
I think so, yeah. For sure.
Gym?
Yeah, I told Angel, man, I said, Angel, you know, any gym that you open up, I mean, I'm willing to put a barbershop in there. You know what I mean? Because the model works so well. Now, the scale of it is a little different because it's really dependent on where the location is in terms of walk-in traffic, you know, parking. There's a bunch of variables.
Yeah.
But any gym that's like the one that Elevation has in downtown with that kind of, I guess with that kind of churn, it's worth it, man. No question. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's an interesting concept. Plus, people are there; they get to see. There's a marketing that's always being done for you by the gym too, as well. You know, by being a part of that community, which is something to be said.
No, man. I've met so many great people at Elevation, man. You know, Angel's a great dude. And I'm happy that our lives cross paths.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's such a great idea because Steve, I mean, you know, what are we doing? We're going in there, we're getting a good burn. You know, you got the showers there. You could go get a haircut, whatever, take a shower, pack your bag, go out for, you know, dinner, whatever it is, right? I think it's a great deal.
So what's next? What's next for you as far as like on the business side?
On the business side, I want to open up a couple more barbershops and pretty much have that just running on its own, man. I'm focusing a lot on what am I doing with the proceeds of the barbering business in terms of getting away from it, so to speak. Not necessarily leaving it all together, man. I mean, I love what I do. This is my art. But I want to do more teaching. I want to do more teaching. I want to do more investing in the craft long term. Bring people back to what this is, the basics of it, and then expanding on that, you know. Professionalism, like I told you, man, a lot of that is missing in that industry, bro. A lot of it.
Yeah, you've been able to invest into real estate, different ventures and stuff like that. What would you say to somebody who's working hard right now? Not, you know, because right now it's hard to buy a home, it's hard to buy things. You know, what would your advice be to somebody who's, you know, just trying to make it? You know what I mean?
I would say try to live beneath your means, man. I would say try to live as far beneath your means as possible. And it's difficult to do that in Miami. You know, everything's very much, you know, in your face. Everything's very much, you know, look at me, you know. Never mind the fact that things are very expensive here. You know, it's the most expensive place to live.
There's a lot working against you.
Of course.
You know, from that perspective.
Of course. I would definitely say that's just a move, man. Live beneath your means. Put as much of what you're not spending away and wait on your moment, man. Stay educated, get as much education as you can, learn as much as you can about different investment vehicles. I love real estate, man, because real estate's tangible. You know, the price of a home could go up or down, or a building can go up or down, but at the end of the day, if I own it, I own it, man. I could walk up to it and touch it. It's not on a computer screen. Right. Hey, this belongs to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, it's not.
As gold should have been. Like,
of course. That's another good one. fam. Like, I shouldn't have said good. I think it's another interesting one because with gold, you know what, you have it there. You know what, you know, at bare minimum, you know it's not going anywhere. You know, I need it. I can go and pawn it. So I understand the premise of having nice jewels and this and that, whatever the case is. So that's cool. But I would say live beneath your means. I would say get as educated as you can on different investment opportunities. And then the other thing is, most importantly, invest in yourself, man. Invest in yourself, invest in your mind, invest in the people around you, your network. You know, like you asked me earlier, right? If everything was taken from you, you know, I was thinking in terms of like what was one of these assets or things that I consider an asset that I could keep. And I would say my contact list. Like if you took all my money, you took everything I own, you took whatever, right? What can I keep? I would have, how I interpret the question was, oh, or I would have answered it, oh, my contacts. Fam, you know, if you have a solid contact list, solid group of people around you, you could lose all of it, Steve. You get it back. You get it back. Probably faster than where you made it, you know?
Yeah, because then there's the need.
Of
and then
course.
you make it happen.
Of course.
You've had tattoos for a while.
Long time.
Which was your first tattoo?
My first tattoo was this one right here.
The MG?
MG, yep.
Uh-huh.
And that stands for mind games.
Mind games.
Mind games.
Why'd you get that?
Because it was a tag that we used to, that I used to sign like whenever I would draw stuff.
Which one is your most meaningful tattoo?
Oh, this one right here. This one right here. It's Philippians 4:13. And that's the one that's most meaningful to me. I could do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That's the one that's most meaningful to me. It's so crazy because originally it was supposed to be things of the world and heavenly things originally, right? Mm-hmm. And I never finished it, man. I never finished it. I remember when I got married, Jeanette was not a fan of tattoos, and I kept getting them. She's like, what's the deal with you? Like, I thought you know that I don't like them and this and that. Yeah, but I like them, you know. She's like, she's like, yeah, nah, like, like we got to compromise. I'm like, all right, little by little, I stopped getting them. But I should get this done just to say that I finished it, right?
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, and this is why, I've been in the tattoo game. To me, when a person gets tattoos, whether consciously or subconsciously at the time, depending on, I got mine at 15 years old, I was already getting. But yeah, at 15, it just means to me that you're willing to commit to something. Because a tattoo is for life, right? So then you have qualities, whether they're mature or not at the moment when you first get them, but eventually you have that quality where you're willing to commit to something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, I'm a proponent of tattoos. I think, whether it's big or small, depending on the person, all that stuff is a variable. But when you walk with a tattoo, you're committed, man.
There's no question.
You're committed to what that represents at the time. It's got a story. Off. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't coming off.
I mean, yeah, unless you go through some laser that's painful as fuck. But it's a commitment, you know what I mean? And if somebody was to get a tattoo, it's the first time they're gonna get a tattoo, what would you say to them? You tell them to get a tattoo or no?
I would say that if you're gonna get a tattoo, hopefully your conviction matches the size of your tattoo.
I like that one.
If it doesn't, you shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
That's it. I think that it's awesome, man. If you have that level of certainty, that you want to put something on your skin. That's something to be respected, man. I think it is, you know? Not everybody will do that. Most people don't.
Right. No, I see that all the time. We do a lot of first timers, things like that. Over the years, we've had like some really deep conversations, bro. Yeah. And there's a couple of things that I would like to eventually get on, but I see it for like a second podcast. But I would like to dive in to certain topics. But until then, right now as it stands, I know you have a roster, you're busy, you're taking care of celebrities.
Thank God, man.
Absolutely. Where would people be able to find you if, let's say, somebody serious wants to book with you? They want, you know what I'm saying? They want to, obviously attain your services. How can the people reach you?
So for if they wanted to get a haircut at the business, they could walk in. It'd be just that simple. With me personally, they would have to book, and I have all my booking information on Instagram. You can see it right there. I have all my booking information there.
The Instagram is at Chris.
At Chris the Barber.
Chris the Barber, yeah.
ChrisDaBarber. And that's on IG. It's the same on TikTok as well, my TikTok handle as well. The name of the business is The Established Gentleman. That's inside of Elevation Fitness. That's the third suite inside of Elevation Fitness.
Downtown Elevation.
In downtown.
Yes.
Yeah, in downtown. Yep. I guess the other thing to say about that in terms of booking, if it's something out of state, then my email is also on there as well. You know what I mean? So I could send you over a price list and all of those things, invoices.
Yeah,
all those things.
I mean, obviously, we're gonna put it. You know what I'm saying?
Of course,
full display on the YouTube
for
for you.
Appreciate that, Steve.
We've touched on different subjects over the years, and I'll leave it with this. I would love to get your point of view on how to keep a marriage lasting long, raising kids in today's society. We've spoken about creation, aliens, all kinds of shit. So I really want to hit up some of these subjects.
It's crazy, man. It's wild, bro.
But for today's, I appreciate you coming in and giving
I appreciate you, Steve.
a lot of you, because
man.
It takes a lot for you to kind of like, not for just you, but like anybody to like really be like, you know what, I'm gonna give myself almost in a transparent way.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a lot of maturity, growth, a lot of responsibility and things like that. So I definitely want to have another shot. You know what I'm saying? And we'll do a part 2.
Let's do
but
it.
Until then, thank you for giving them all the love and the guidance. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And as always, brother, respect, and I'll catch you at the
respect, brother, love, bro.
At the Established Gentleman right there on downtown Elevation.
Yes,
and man, as you already know, all day, every day, Empire is the way.
Yes, sir.